How's it going, everybody? Hopefully everybody's doing well. We'll give it a couple minutes here before we get started. But I did want to have I was tempted to postpone this live stream, but I decided to have it because I'm trying to be consistent every week. Keyword is try. So we'll be talking about exam preparation and things like that as we get further along. So talk a little bit about my preparation. Make sure that my properties are set correctly. Yep. Cancel. And all that good stuff. So the exam preparation can be pretty daunting for those of you that have gone through it. So, and for those of you that haven't gone through it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about where I'm at with my CCDE studies and some of the. I had a really good idea from a viewer last week that talked about on the live stream. I'll talk a little bit about an idea that I had, and we will take a look at some of the cool stuff that's out there online that's relatively new that you may not be aware of. So we'll give it a couple more minutes for people to hop in here and get started, and then we will start diving into some content. So yeah, good stuff. Like I said, I hope everybody's doing well, and we are going to talk a little bit about the new website. Pull that up real quick. And let me go ahead and change my scene to this scene. I'm going to bring this guy over. So we do have a website. We have it's robreichertechchannel.com. So as everybody knows me through YouTube, it made sense to name it robreichertechchannel.com. So my goal is to take everything that you guys are going to see that is certification specific or technology specific, and I'm going to be putting all that content here on the website. So it's always going to be a work in progress as content gets created and things like that. My plan is to go and put all that content out here. My plan right now is to work through all of the content on the CCDE core and large-scale networking technology lists. And the cool thing about that is that there's a lot of overlap between CCIE security, CCIE wireless, CCIE service provider. And then if you get into large-scale networking, if you get into on-prem and cloud, the CCIE data center. So I don't know if how far I'm gonna take it with all of those, but right now, because I have to deal with security and firewalls on a regular basis, it is something that I definitely walk into on a regular basis. So what I'm planning on doing is, like I mentioned, planning on going through the blueprints for the core technology list and the large-scale networking technology list, and I'm labbing a bunch of stuff up. I'm going through a lot of training right now, trying to learn how ASA firewalls, FTD, Palo, Fortinet. My goal is to have go through a bunch of different vendors, a bunch of different platforms and things like that, and then turn all of the things that I'm learning into workbooks so that you guys have known good configuration guides that you can follow along with. And those workbooks will have video solutions that will follow them. Right now I am trying to play catch up a little bit right now with the Enterprise video series. So right now I'm creating a video series where I will be going through the Enterprise workbook and labbing up all the individual labs that are in there. So it's not going to be wholly inclusive. I'm not going to be looking at every minor feature of every variable that's in there, but more or less giving you guys a high level overview of what's there. So there were some questions that were asked about if I was going to ever update the workbook in the PDF format, and the answer to that question is no. That is the reason why I created the website, so that if any updates do come through, they will be going directly onto the website, and you'll be able to access that. It's the website access is $25 a month, and you'll get access to everything as I create it. And I am working pretty steadily on trying to record content for the enterprise video series. So it's the video solutions to all of the workbook tasks that are in there, and it's a technical deep dive. So the workbook is there to give you kind of like a short snippet of everything that's on the blueprint. There's some bullet points and factoids and things like that to help you understand how the technology works. And then there's the solution that goes along with that. So the goal is to provide you guys with a known good configuration guide for that. And I'm going to be doing that for security, wireless, excuse me, service provider, data center, probably some collaboration. I'm looking past the list. I'm also going to be updating SD-WAN to 20.9. I'm going to be doing firepower, ASA, Palo, Fortinet, VXLAN, Nexus 9K. So basically, and I won't be limiting it to just Cisco. Any other platforms that I want to go learn, I'm also going to be demoing on the website, and this will be your primary source for knowledge, right? You'll be able to come here, you'll be able to log in. If you want to register, you can. It's free to register, and I'm working on the options to what that's going to look like as I progress forward. So it's one of those things where, again, it's a work in progress, but it's definitely one of those things where all of my content that I create is going to be put out here that would normally go on YouTube for free. I just don't, the amount of time and effort that it takes to record videos and then edit and then upload and then put them out there, there just isn't the amount of effort that goes into it. The views just aren't there for that. So rather than me just being a super nice guy and putting a bunch of stuff out there online for free, all I'm asking for is basically the same amount of money you would probably spend on Starbucks for coffee or for Netflix. You'd be able to access the content here. You can cancel anytime, all that good stuff. Come and go as you please. But that's where I'm going to be going with that. So in that regard, so that's pretty much that. So one of the things that I have been working on, like I said, has been my CCDE. And as I was going through the CCDE core technology list, and I'll actually bring this up, and we'll look at CCDE, this guy right here. We look at the learning network. This is the exam I'm currently working on, is 3.1, because 3.0 I don't think I will be able to, I don't think I'll be ready to take the exam before the new exam drops. So I've been steadily working on the 3.1 core technology list. And if you're curious to know how would you study for it and things like that, you have the core technology list here, which I have this bookmarked. What this is going to give me the ability of doing is going through and knowing all the technologies that I need to be really, really familiar with. And then you've got, since you have 4 2-hour scenarios that are on the practical exam, and then you get to select an area of expertise. The area of expertise: AI infrastructure, large-scale networking, on-prem and cloud services, and then workforce mobility. So because there's you can pick one of these to be one of your areas of expertise. I've chosen large-scale networking because it's the thing that I know the best, and just it's an area of comfort for me. So my goal right now has been to go through the core technology list and also the large scale networking. And when I go through this, there's a lot of content in here that I need to cover. And one of the things that I've really liked about it is it definitely is going to be a challenging time to go through because there's a lot of technologies encompassed. So as I've been going through this, there's a lot of material to go over. So I've been systematically working my way through the CCIE security blueprint. So because there's so much overlap between so many different verticals, so the Cisco CCIE tracks, it only makes sense for me to start to go down that path. My goal eventually will just be earn CCNPs in certain areas. So like for example, for security, I passed the VPN exam a long time ago. Right now I would be basically studying for the core exam. So I'm going to go through the core exam for security and then eventually go and sit for the VPN exam again so I can get my NPN security. I'll do the same thing for wireless, and then I'll do the same thing for service. I already have my NPN service provider, but the goal is to go through the material and make sure that I lock it all down so that I have a deep technical understanding of how everything works. So that's one of the things that's really, really important. And if you look up here at the top, one of the things that they talk about is a deep understanding of the listed technologies and solutions and be able to integrate them while applying design considerations as described in the CCDE exam topics. So this is where, to me, reading alone isn't sufficient enough. I could be wrong. I could go take the CCDE tomorrow and pass. I don't know. But based off of the understanding of how the exam is delivered and the technology list laid out here, most of the stuff I already know. There's very little that I'm not already familiar with or couldn't lab up or do a demo of it on Cisco products. So that definitely helps when it comes to exam preparation and things like that. So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on the areas I know the least and then using that as a launching point to help me get the ball rolling. And then once I have the areas of the areas that I don't know as well, as long as I bring those areas up to and work on them, that's only going to improve my skill set overall as an engineer, which is always a good thing, right? So by doing that and going through the list and testing out all these capabilities, my goal is twofold, right? Is to go after, knock out the CCDE, but also at the same time be heading very, very far down the road the CCIE security, wireless, and service provider tracks as well, because there's just so much technology that is covered. The CCDE looks like a monster exam. Should be fun though. I agree. I definitely think it looks like a lot of fun, and it to me it's a challenge, right? It's an exam that I've never attempted before, and everybody that I've talked to that has a CCDE tells me that based off of everything they've listened to videos that I've recorded and talked about, and they hear how I talk about the exam, they all think that I would do really, really well. And a couple of them told me I should just go take it now because of my technical depth that I have. And I appreciate the vote of confidence from those folks, but at the end of the day, I am more of the first time I go sit for any of the new expert level exams will be the first time for that delivery. So I never sat for the DE before, so I don't know what to expect. I hope that I do well when I go sit for it, but you never know. So it's one of those things where I'd rather take the time to go learn the technologies that I don't have as much of an understanding on, and like I said, raise my knowledge level in those areas so that I'm becoming a better engineer overall. And then when I go to take the DE practical and hopefully I pass it, that it'll be time well spent, because then I'll be able to, in parallel, also be studying for other CCIEs. It's kind of always been a pipe dream of mine to be able to say my name and then CCIE triple or quadruple, stuff like that. It's just, I've never really had a really good, compelling reason to spend that kind of time in those areas. But now that I'm going through this and the blueprint basically forces my hand, it's like, okay, well, I'm looking past the camera at my whiteboard, and there's a whole bunch of different technologies on the whiteboard that I want to go dig into. So that's the kind of the driving force behind that. So looking forward to it for sure. Same thing with large scale networking. There's a lot that goes into this one. It basically covers the entire blueprint for service provider. That's the big driving factor right there. So I've been working on a topology for DE that I actually had to go redo because I built it based off of what I had been, my knowledge level at the time, and now that I've been going through some training, that I've been able to, I've gotten wiser and more familiar with the way that things are set up, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know this as well as I thought I do, so I need to go back to the drawing board and go learn it better. I was told there is a big jump from CCIE to CCDE. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I can tell you right now, just based off of the core technology list alone, that the way that I'm reading the core technology list, I feel like I'm reading a CCIE blueprint multiple times over. Like, I honestly don't know how much of this overlaps with the wireless enterprise wireless, or how much of this overlaps with, say, CCIE DevNet. I don't know. Not that I'm going to ever attempt the DevNet IE, just putting that out there. There is a lot of content to go over and understand because, well, there's a lot that goes into this. I remember when the CCDA, when I was studying for that, and I gave up on it because there were, for one reason or another thing, whether technology or certification caught my eye, and that seemed like a better use of my time at the time. So one of the things that I've made this very clear multiple times, even talked internally to the guys that I work with, and that my goal right now isn't to try to take my technology understanding any deeper in the routing and switching or enterprise infrastructure track that I already have. Because you're really not going to teach me anything that I don't already know when it comes to routing protocols, unless it's like a new feature or something that I haven't seen before. So rather than even be more specialized or take even a deeper dive, I want to widen my technology scope so that I'm, go wider than versus deeper. And how wide I go has yet to be determined. So, and to be honest with you, there's no width limit right now, right? I'm going to go as wide as I feel like I need to or want to, depending on the day or the exam. But the cool thing is depth can vary day to day, right? So I do have the intention of going through and testing out a bunch of stuff and labbing it all up because, that's what I do anyway. It's what I enjoy doing it and stuff like that. So during the summer right now, because it's nice outside, I'm spending less time in front of the computer and more time outside. So I'm trying to enjoy that because I live in the upper Midwest and it gets cold out come, mid-October. It's cold, it's tolerable still in mid-October. Right before Halloween, it starts to get cold. But, then you circle back. It doesn't start to warm up until, late April, mid-May. So that entire period of time, we're talking 6, 7, 8 months, it's cold outside. Or I don't want to be outside because I have to dress up or dress warm. So that period of time, I'm going to be basically hitting the studies really, really hard and trying to free up my summer so that I don't have to worry about it. So far, things have been going really, really well with the studies. But then again, I'm going into areas that I'm kind of familiar with already. So, are you looking to sit the practical V3 or aiming for V3.1? I'm going to sit for V3.1. That's what I'm going to tackle and attempt to knock out because even though the people that I talk to that have taken the DE already. They've passed it. They've several of them have given me the thumbs up. They think I'm already ready for the practical, but I'm and as much as I appreciate their vote of confidence, I'm like, I don't quite think so. So I'm going to take the time to go learn the material and things like that for V3.1. And I always plan for 2 attempts. One to see what it looks like, and the second one to actually pass. So that's kind of my goal and attempt here. And I'm going this from kind of a bottom-up approach on the blueprint, because there's so much content that I don't have the depth on, and I want to spend the time learning the new material up front versus, I don't know if you guys ever have this feeling, but when you're going through content that you already know and you're like, oh my god, I'm not learning anything new, or this is boring, I always get that like I need to feel like I need to run away. So that's essentially what I'm doing now, is I'm spending the time in the areas that I don't know to try to level those up and get stronger in them, and then I can circle back to the areas that I do know much better, when it comes to like all this stuff, all the IGPs, and then focus on the areas of IGP or the capabilities that I don't know as well. Like loop-free alternates, I'm going to have to go lab that up because I haven't done that before. Or look at, get maybe a little bit stronger in multicast routing and look at interdomain multicast a little bit more thoroughly, stuff like that. So there's not a lot in this area that I don't know. Like I definitely would have to spend some time labbing up Lisp because I haven't labbed that up much in the past, or focus on secure group taggings. So there's a lot of there's some technologies that I need some time on to better myself on, and other stuff where it's just like, oh yeah, I don't have to waste any time on that because I'm already rock solid there. So that's the same way I do, sir. It's a quick brush of the topics and then attempt it. If you pass, great. If not, then you have a pretty good idea of what you're missing. Looking at you, multicast. Yeah, it's multicast is, I feel comfortable with it. I know I can explain multicast. I can get it working and things like that and stuff like there's no fear with it. It's not something I run away from. If there's anything on this blueprint that scares me right now, it's automation, because I've literally never done any of it. So like I have more experience with everything else. That and this whole zero trust and AI ML for the artificial intelligence and machine learning. I've never touched it, so I wouldn't even know where to start. So these are some areas that I would need to definitely spend some time labbing up or learning about and seeing if I couldn't lab them up and stuff like that. So automation, and then the zero trust piece of security. Other than that, there's literally nothing else on here that I'm not already generally familiar with or need to spend a lot of time to go learn. So, and that's a good thing, right? When you think about it from a holistic perspective, it gives me it lets me tackle some stuff that I'm definitely going to be learning some things that I didn't already know. So same thing with large scale networking. So there's a lot to go into this. So, but yeah, I'm excited about the whole process, and I'm definitely looking forward to digging into it more thoroughly and stuff like that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you guys where is it? Do I have it pulled up? No, I don't. I'm going to show you, and I wasn't going to show you this, but just because of the fact that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I wanted to show you a topology that I was dabbling around on for CCDE. And let me go ahead and close this out. I think it's on this guy. No, it is not. Wrong box. Is it on this one? Yep, and nothing is working on this box yet. Okay, so open this back up. All right, so let me sign in. All right, let me close this one out. And okay, here we go. So CCDE, we go ahead and open this up. So this is the lab that I built out about a week ago, and the idea behind this one here is to be a way for me to test out a lot of the different technologies on the CCDE blueprint in a lab format. And there's a lot here, so I'm gonna zoom out a little bit just so you guys can see it, and then I'll scroll up and down a little bit. But this is the topology I created. I was monkeying around one night and I was like, well, this looks kind of cool. So what I did was I was going through the blueprint. I had a blueprint on one screen, I had this up on the other, and I was just starting to like, how would I do this? And just to be clear, this is not going to be feasible to actually get working. It's just that big. So, and if I did, it would just be a monster lab. But the idea here is that I have a lab built out that's going to let me play around, or at least take all the different technologies that are on the DE blueprint and make out a topology that's going to allow multiple things to get covered. So I'd be able to use this as like a reference point when we're talking about a particular feature or capability. I'd be able to like reference this diagram and go, okay, this is what I'm talking about. You know, you got this design, you got this this thing operational. Now here's what it would look like in the grand scheme of things. So this would be your what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? It gives you like, I forgot where I was going with that. Lost my train of thought. But it gives you the big picture of what all the different technologies are that and how they would come together. Because really at the end of the day, that's what you would want to do. It's a good excuse to practice your automation skills. Yeah, that is true. You can't argue with that. That's for sure. So this is the topology that I came up with. It's big on purpose, and I have looked at some like attempting to try to get this to boot and what it would take, and I don't even think I have enough resources on even my biggest server to make this a reality. But it's, like I said, it's more for when we're talking about a particular feature or capability on a particular box or what have you, and I want to look at the design aspect of it and go, okay, for example, and this is a bad example at the moment because of the way that it's set up. For example, if we were to look at like ASA clustering, so how would you implement that in a real world design? And then we would be able to look at, okay, how would you apply the technical skills that you have to architect it to architect a solution that would make sense, but also be feasible or what you potentially could see in the real world. And that's really where this topology comes into play, where I have multiple service providers working, I have multiple connections operational, you know, I got 2 different data centers and stuff like that. So it gives a big picture view to someone that may not be able to see things the same way I do. That's really the game plan for this because of the sheer size and capability that goes with it. So it is a lot on purpose, and I did that because, well, the reality of it is that when you're architecting networks and solutions, you need to be able to, in your own mind, be able to visualize what that might look like. Because I know a lot of folks that start off at the bottom in their career, like whether it's help desk or desktop support or what have you, and they systematically start climbing the ladder, so to speak, at wherever they work, and they want to get better at stuff and take on more responsibility, but they can't really help themselves too much because they don't understand how all this stuff comes together. So they don't see the big picture of how it comes into play, where you can zoom out and understand what it all looks like. Instead of having all these network devices laid out with all the cabling and all that type of stuff. Could you zoom out and replace all these switches with just like a cloud that's got a link going to other clouds, but then you just give that cloud a name that says maybe HQ, and then maybe there's a cloud underneath that cloud that says HQ Data Center, or HQ DMZ, or HQ WAN Edge, HQ Internet Edge, and it's zoomed out to where you can see the whole architecture of what you've got built. And what I mean by that is this. Let me go ahead and pull my pen tool up real quick and kind of maybe draw out what I'm talking about from a high level, right? Maybe that'll help. All right, so let me go ahead and go red and do medium. So what I mean by that is this. So instead of, you getting all this equipment up here at the top, right? You instead draw a cloud, right? And this cloud is HQ. And then you draw another cloud, and it's ISP1, and then you have another cloud, and it's ISP2, and then you have another cloud that is service provider 1. This is doing your MPLS connectivity, and then you do service provider 2, and then over here you have your, I'm going to draw this in so that it kind of connects in like so. Then you have your DC. Then you have another one over here. This could be your DMZ. This could be your Internet Edge. This could be your WAN Edge. And what you would do is you would connect your Internet Edge here, you connect your WAN Edge here, and then you'd have ISP2 connecting here, then you'd have service provider 1 and 2 connecting there, and then you'd have, you draw this out, you have branch 1, then you have branch 2, and then you have stuff like that. They come out here and they connect like that, and this guy connects like this, and you do, branch 3, and then this guy connects like that. Then you've got, colo, for example, and this guy connects to the internet and to the service provider. And then you continue to do these things over and over and over again. So if you were to look at the network from a high level perspective, 100,000 foot view, this is what your network would look like. That's kind of where I'm going with this when it comes to be able to zoom in and zoom out. So if that makes sense, and that's the direction you want to go with your career, and so you have a better understanding, that's where you would do that. So it's like, you'd have, CE2, or CE2, CE3, CE4, so on and so forth. And so you just, bubble these guys out like that, and then they would connect respectively to where they've got to go. And the cool thing about this is I could take these these clouds, the same cloud you would see in Visio or in Microsoft Paint, the old school Paint. You could put this on a logical build out, and then you can hand this to somebody like me, and I can say, okay, cool. And I can understand at a high level what you've got going on. I don't know the specifics, but I really don't need to. If we're talking high level architecture, let's war game this for a minute. Let's say, for example, that in yellow-green, right now, off your Internet Edge, all of your branch locations are using IPsec VPNs. And it's working, it gets the job done, but let's say, for example, you want to go and you want to leverage SD-WAN. So you still have to have an SD-WAN device terminating on your Internet Edge, but also in your branch 1, 2, and 3 locations. But what you want to do instead is you want to have SD-WAN take advantage of it for all the different service providers that are connecting into it. Maybe these branches also have connections into the service providers for MPLS. So now you want to be able to take this and move this over to SD-WAN, because maybe internet connectivity here gets kind of wonky during the day, but over here it's more stable because you're paying for an SLA. And eventually the traffic gets over here to branch 1 and you're able to get connectivity up and running. Some of these are some of the conversations, and being able to zoom in and zoom out are what's going to help you as an engineer. So when I've done network diagrams before, and the way a lot of the times that I do network diagramming today is I will do a high-level design. So with all the red clouds and all the lines connecting them together, I'll do that. And then what I'll do is I'll create, especially in Visio, I'll create a different tab in Visio, which will be a dedicated location. So it'll be taking this cloud, these clouds right here, like this cloud right here, and then I'll break out what you see up here with all the switches cabled together and all the connectivity in place and how it's all going to be wired and all that together. Maybe there's a spreadsheet of port mappings and other stuff. That's what that's what makes a senior engineer, right? You're able to understand the big picture, right? And then if you need to, you can zoom in to a location level and dig into the details if you need to do so. And to me, that's kind of the mind's eye, if you will, of what the CCDE is all about, right? They give you a blueprint and a bunch of topics that you need to go learn how to work with and to do, but it's not an implementation exam. And I had some people ask me, well, wait, aren't you working on DE and not like multiple CCIEs? And the answer is I am working on my DE, but because there's so much overlap with the CCIE tracks, I would be kind of dumb to not tackle them because I've already put the time in. Now, do you need to spend the time labbing them up, or is reading sufficient? I don't know. I haven't sat for the practical yet, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. To me, it's still something that I have to go and cover whether I want to or not. And that to me is where it really comes into play is, you put your time and effort into what you think is worth it. So to me, it's worth going and labbing all this stuff up, and taking notes on it, taking the time to go lab it up, watch videos, read the documentation, all that type of stuff. You definitely need to be able to go through and make sure you understand all the capabilities and things like that. So hopefully that makes sense, because when it comes down to how I go about exam preparation, one of the things that I like to do is whenever I sit in a customer meeting, like I was in a customer meeting earlier today, I like to be able to know and understand what the customer is talking about, hopefully before anybody else in the room does. That's just how I am. I like having that technical depth of the customer says, well, hey, we've got this particular product or service working, and whether it's working well or working poorly is a whole other set of problems. But being knowledgeable of what they're talking about, that to me is something that I should be able to do. Now, I may not be able to debug a problem on the fly, but I'm generally familiar in most cases about what people are running, and I can equate that to the studying that I've done, right? So that's how I'm able to justify the time and effort. Because when somebody brings up something in a customer meeting, I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is. I know how that works. So that's really what how I quantify the time and effort that goes into the studying that I do, not how much money I make. How much money I make kind of is irrelevant, and it's like whether you're making $50K or $250K, it's your time and effort is how much value you hold in that is really up to you, right? So, am I the highest paid CCIE out there? Nope. Am I the lowest paid CCIE out there? Nope. But do I fall into a category where I'm comfortable? I do. And if I didn't have the technical prowess and business acumen that I do, not saying that I'm perfect in every way, but having the wherewithal to know and understand is really important, at least to me. So hopefully that makes sense with kind of the mindset methodology that I'm attempting to go after and to do. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. So one of the things that I want to talk about too is actually Lawrence is the one that came up with he inadvertently gave me an idea for something. And the idea that I had was a lot of folks have been patiently waiting for me to get the Encore and an RC workbook done, and then the troubleshooting section. A lot of people seem to be really, really excited about the troubleshooting section. And so I was kicking around the idea the other day, and actually after Lawrence made the comment on it, the idea that I came up with was for the troubleshooting section. What I'm going to do is, after I have the topology built, and I'm going to take a few minutes here on, which one was it? Right here. I'm going to, is this the one I was starting to build? Yeah, this is one. It's just too big. I'm going to create a new one. What I'm going to do is we're going to go and build out a topology in the, so we're going to take the exam blueprints. I'm going to build a topology to cover Encore and an RC. And then once I have it fully configured, I'm going to systematically break it. And the goal would be to have the solutions already figured out in the workbook. And then what my plan is to take the troubleshooting tickets. Let's say there's 15 of them. What I would plan on doing is taking that troubleshooting scenario, and I would take a couple of them over the course of a period of probably a few weeks, if I had to guess, and I would go live like I am right now on YouTube, but also have a Microsoft Teams call open for anybody that wants to participate live. And what I would do is I would show you the topology, and here's the ticket. The ticket says user A can't telnet to R3 or whatever the scenario is. And then you guys would be kind of forced to troubleshoot the network on the fly, right? You've been given an issue with the network, and it's your job to resolve it. So do that live on YouTube, and then anybody that wants to participate in real time in a Microsoft Teams call, they'd be able to join the call and dig into the issue and troubleshoot it in real time. So obviously I'm going to know the answer to how to fix it, but that's my goal, is to do that so that there is some real world play with it. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because multiple times that I've worked on troubleshooting scenarios, it's not just one person working on it. You usually have a couple people working on it, especially if there's something down hard and you're trying to fix it. It's kind of an all hands on deck firefighting type of scenario that you need to work through and get working. So that's kind of the idea I have. And I was messing around the other day, and I have a topology that I'm going to live build in here. For those of you that are actually interested in watching me come up with the topology for the Encore and an RC series, I'm about to go build it right in front of you right now. But it shouldn't take too long to do. But the idea is to build it. The benefit to this is I'm not trying to do anything real world specifically, meaning I'm looking at it from we're gonna build a topology, and then we're gonna have some troubleshooting tickets. Not today, but we're gonna have troubleshooting tickets, and you're gonna you're going to drive. You're going to tell me what to do. What do you think the problem is? Stuff like that. What I did when I was starting was get a friend to break something for me in an interesting way. If I had to do it now, I would replicate issues that actually happened in production. That's not a bad way of going about it either. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to build this in real time so you guys can see how this is going to play out. So I'm going to grab the node. I'm going to grab the iOS router, and I'm going to, what did I say? There are 17 routers. Oops. My goal here is to make this topology so small that anybody that is running Cisco modeling labs at home, that they would be able to replicate this in CML. That's the plan. And then I'm going to grab 3 switches and get them configured, or get them here. So I'm going to draw this out, and then I'm going to put some nomenclature around there so you guys can see what it looks like. Hopefully this will all make sense. So if it doesn't make sense, I will be putting some notations on the topology just so that it'll make sense. So I don't want to keep looking off to my left, so I'm going to bring this over to my right so that it's right in front of me. So what's up, Jacob? Haven't talked to you in a while, man. Hopefully everything is good. Oops. And then we have R5. We have R6. And don't worry, I'll put this, I'll draw bubbles around stuff and note what's going to happen where and things like that. So just be patient here for just a minute. And we have 10, right, 10, 11, and 12, or wait, 12. So I got, it's like I lost the router. We have 13, 14, 15, and then 16 and 17. We're going to put this switch here, this switch here. I partially have my mic in the way, that's why I'm leaning kind of hard to my right. And we're going to drag all this stuff over here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cable it up, and we're going to start doing some nomenclature. We're going to put some diagram, some notes on the diagram so you guys can see what this is going to look like. And all that good stuff that goes along with it. So hopefully this will make sense to a lot of folks. And if you don't know what some stuff means, we can talk about it briefly. But the idea here is to help you guys get better at networking. So the only way you do that is by labbing stuff up and understanding what it does and how it works. And do the same thing down here. This can be the time-consuming part, doing all the cabling and then notations and things like this. So we're going to drag this down here like that, and then we're going to connect these two guys together. Alright, so for that one, I'm going to start putting some information in here. So custom shape, we're going to say square rounded. We're going to do this. So this will be one big site. Actually, let me not break it down based off a site. Let me go break it down based off of it's been most yep, I'm the same way, man. That's how it goes, dude. That's The reason why we spend so much time is we diagram so much in networking or in IT, because you need to have a reference diagram for everything, especially when you work in, if you're in a pre-sales capacity, you have to. You have to be able to articulate whatever it is that you're doing. So, but that's what makes it fun, right? Is being able to see something in your mind's eye and be able to build it is kind of cool, logically, and know how to put that information out there. That's a cool feature to be able to do. And then I'll duplicate this. This one will be the same way. There we go. All right, so let me go grab a text box. This guy's going to be area 0. And then we're going to do duplicate. This guy's going to be area 13. And then we're going to do, let's make this a little bit wider. This will be area 14. Area 4, excuse me. Area 4. Yeah, I did see that CCDE AI concentration. Definitely not diving into that thing, man. Definitely not diving into that. I'm staying in my lane when it comes to those things. I don't do automation or AI. I stay in my lane. Area 5, and this is going to be a stub area. And then we have this guy here. This will be area 6. This will be a not so stubby area. And then we have this guy. Down here will be EIGRP ASN 10. And then, so my goal here, just I'm going to pause real quick, just level set. My goal here is to have the routers, when we get, well, let's assume everything's configured. Systematically break stuff, and the idea will be when we go live with the troubleshooting section, I will say, hey, listen, here's the ticket, and I'll probably have them listed down here somewhere or whatever. And I'll be like, R5 can't telnet to R4. And then we would figure out why R5 can't talk to R4. But one of the things that I'm going to do here is put in and be a virtual link. And if you don't know what that is, that's okay. You're going to learn what that is, and we will, maybe I should bring this down just a touch, just so that I have a little bit more area down here. There we go. So the idea is to intentionally build the OSPF environment, and EIGRP for that matter, in a manner that will let us test the features out. There's nothing real world about this particular thing. And I know I had put out online about doing like a design aspect to it. I probably will still do something like that, but exactly how I'm going to do that has yet to be determined. But my goal right now is to focus on honestly just trying to get some stuff done and get the content out to you guys, because there's so much going on that I need to knock something out. And I did mention a minute ago that my goal is to have this topology small enough to where somebody could recreate it in CML. And even though I don't have CML, actually no, I do. I take that back. I do have it now. So it would be a matter of getting it stood up so that I'd be able to get it working, and then once I have CML working, just build the topology out and then export it so you guys would have access to it. So the top half here, routers 10, 11, and 12, this would be BGP internet, and then down here 13, 14, and 15 would be an MPLS VPN. So pretty straightforward stuff. So you'd see all the capabilities that are configured, connected, all that type of stuff. We would do a single hub DMVPN deployment, because it's enterprise and Encore. You guys aren't going to be working for service providers, so it doesn't. Or if you do, you may or may not be working in the core, right? So internet routing and things like that. So the idea is to build this out in such a manner that it gives whoever is studying for the enterprise an enterprise view and feel for the exam. I'm not looking to try to do anything that is over the top with routing and switching or service provider. I do plan on creating service provider content, but that'll come out down the road. So just to put this into context here, let me go ahead and label this out a little bit so you guys see what makes more sense. Do this. So routers 10, 11, and 12 would be our service provider routers that we're going to do EBGP peering between them. And then we're going to be doing BGP peering from 16 and 17 to 12 and 15. So we can see what that's going to look like as well. But this is going to be one big service provider. And then we're going to have capability like this stood up. So this is what the topology is going to look like when it's all said and done. And so I'm just going to draw some links between these guys so that's connected. So my goal now would be to take a couple of hours, more than likely, to get this entire environment stood up, IP addressed, and then configure it based off of the way that I have it labeled and how everything is going to come together. And then once I have all that configuration done, it would be to put that into a workbook and then get that information out to you guys. And then from there, I would, once it's all working, I would systematically break it. And then you and I would work through troubleshooting the problems and things like that. So that's essentially where I'm going with, with all of that. So it's a lot that goes into this, but realistically that's what, when you look at architecture all day, like I do, this is immediately where my brain goes on a pretty regular basis. So, but this is what Encore and RC is going to look like. I'm going to continue to nomenclature it just so that it makes more sense. So I'll do, let me bring this down just a touch. So it's going to be OSPF area 0. Then we're going to have BGP ASN 100. And we're going to replicate this up here. We're going to get rid of the area 0 piece because we don't need that here. We're going to bring this up here. This will be ASN 10. Duplicate that. This will be ASN 11. And then this one here will be ASN 12. Like that. And then over here, we would have our other location here. So I'll just grab this guy here, duplicate that. This guy will be EIGRP AS10. And then we'll do BGP ASN 65001. Like that. So what this gives me is a solid platform to work from, and it won't be completely real world in the respect that I would have users connecting in here because I really wanted to make it 20 devices and we would be good to go there. So this is the plan that I have moving forward. Like I said, it'll take me a couple of hours to get this stood up. configured, IP address, and all that type of stuff, and it'll definitely help with the overall view of what we're trying to do. What I found with Labbing Enterprise was to create a router config which simulate the edge of an SP net on a single router and the internet on a separate router interface. Single router and the internet on a separate router. Interface 1, site 1, 2 is 2, etc. I meant there was a single device that would replace all the SP. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. So, yeah, that's totally doable, right? Let me go ahead and update this and just put in here MPLS layer 3 VPN. So yeah, that's cool, man. I'm for whatever it is that you want to do and test out. There's a lot of capabilities out there that can definitely be taken advantage of and looked at. So I think it's awesome that you're trying to learn and stuff like that. So this is the topology we're going to be working with for Encore and RC because I really wanted to focus. And if we look at Cisco Doc certs, and if we look at CCNP real quick, and we look at enterprise, and then I look at exams and training, and then I look at an RC. And before I look at the exam blueprint, one of the things that I do plan on doing is for SD-WAN. Yeah, you're right, Lawrence. Good for keeping the number of routers down in a lab when the main focus was the enterprise. Yeah, my main goal, because of the blueprint here, I'm gonna pull this up real quick. As I do plan on doing a dedicated set of content on SD-WAN, and doing design will come into play, but that's going to be kind of an overarching theme of any of the content that I do as we're moving forward with stuff. So, and then they have this network assurance. This would probably be your, if I had to guess, this is probably going to be your DNA. Platform and architecture. They keep out concentrations. RFC, Thousand Eyes. Yeah, this is definitely going to be Thousand Eye Meraki Insights. Yeah, Thousand Eye. Oh, it could be more Thousand Eyes. I'm definitely getting a lot of that. So that's cool. Now in RC, if we look at the exam topics, the goal here, and if you look on an RC, there isn't much in here in terms of switching, right? So if you go back over here to the exams and training, there will be for Encore, which is why Encore is definitely the main focus. But if we look here, there will be some pieces to this. If we look at network, if we look at infrastructure, there's layer 2 here. But it's very, very basic. You know, .1Q trunks, Ether channels, BPD guard, that type of stuff. So my intention with this topology was to do Encore and then focus on the Encore topics, but then immediately dive into the an RC topics as well. And then we'd be able to build off of all that information. Now on an RC, let me go ahead and close this one out. On an RC, there is, in VPN technologies, there is a describe MPLS layer 3 VPN, but I'm going to take it a step further and we're going to actually deploy it and get that working. So there's literally nothing about this topology that somebody couldn't lab up, and the idea is to have a known good configuration. So there was a question I got about this from someone, and would the Encore and an RC workbook and video series and troubleshooting sections be enough for you to tackle the Encore and an RC exams? And I'm going to be honest with you, no, it's not. And the reason why it wouldn't be is because if we look at it's going to cover a lot of it, but not everything. So that's why there is quite a bit in the Enterprise Workbook. That's what the Enterprise Workbook is there for. It covers the CCIE Enterprise Blueprint. The only thing that I'm doing here with this topology is making it certification specific for those that are working on it. They're at the CCNA level and they want to work their way up to CCNP and maybe start getting an idea of what CCIE might be like. Most people aren't going to go for CCIE. I understand that. But what most people are looking to do is getting stronger in basic networking. This is going to be a known good configuration for even poorly designed. Because I'll be honest with you, nobody designs their OSPF environment with virtual links in mind. I'm doing it because of the fact that in OSPF, it talks about that. You have your ABR, you have your ASBR. It talks about backbone, normal transit stub, not so stubby area, and totally stubby area. You have your point-to-point, multi-point, broadcast, and non-broadcast network types. So we're going to be taking a look at all these different capabilities as we go through, and I'm able to do that because I have all this stuff right here. And then you look at EIGRP, the neighbor relationship authentication, loop-free to pass selection, load balancing, things like that. So there's a lot that it's going to cover. Are we going to do PBR? We can add in a rule that specifically says we can do PBR, but not in the and we are going to do it. What scenario I'm going to throw at you with it? I don't know. Maybe I say that in order to get to a particular public IP, go this way, or whatever. There's probably some IPSLA stuff in here too. Maybe down at the bottom. Yes, right here. So maybe we do. So many problems I come across stem from bad layer 3 designs, often riddled with technical debt. You are absolutely right. So what's cool about this is, blueprint-wise, is there's a lot of options in here that we can dig into and facilitate, and I can demo out most of the stuff in a. I'm thinking about it from your guys' perspective. How do I demo this out if I don't have a beefy server like Rob? Well, my goal is for you to be able to roll this out in an Eve VM and just import the topology, power things on, and boom, within a matter of, half an hour, you're live on and then all you're doing is copying and pasting in the configs and to do the initial configurations. And then once that's done, you're going through the individual labs. Now, granted, I'm going to go through this very, very quickly from a configuration perspective. I'm going to get things up and running because it's going to be faster for me to do that. Right? I'm going to get everything connected, configured, operational, all that type of stuff, and then dump all that into the Word doc, get it formatted the way that I want to, create go back over to robreichertechchannel.com, and then I'll start creating the individual labs, and then from there, you and I will create we'll go through the troubleshooting scenarios that are available for that. So all that will be available. The solutions for the troubleshooting section, I'm going to do that in a live stream YouTube fashion, so that that'll get recorded. It'll be interactive because I think that's going to be valuable. So that's what you guys can go see. I'm going to go, my goal is, after I get done with my workout tonight, I'm going to go ahead and get this stood up, because as soon as I get this out of the way, that's one less thing I have to worry about. Plus then I can get the videos recorded for it as well, and all that good stuff that goes along with it. So if you guys have any questions or concerns or anything like that, do not feel, go ahead and reach out to me at any point in time. I'm available pretty much 24 hours a day. All you have to do is leave a comment in the video. If you are a Patreon member or member through YouTube, hit me up. I'm happy to try to help you out, but just be cognizant of the fact that I may not get back to you right away. So, but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I've got going on for this. Hopefully I'll have the workbook done for this pretty quickly. And then once that's done, I'll be able to move on and get the enterprise video series knocked out as well, and then be able to go full bore into my CCDE stuff. Just a thought, it might be helpful to run through how to create a diagram L2, L3 from what you find on a CLI. That seems to be a real world skill that even seniors I have met are often missing. I don't know if that falls in the study series though. You know what? That's I like it, and we can do that. So there's I don't know all the things that you guys want to see. So if you guys present me ideas for like doing, for example, if you're walking into and I've done this 100, probably thousands of times now, especially being a third-party consultant, you walk into an environment and you are trying to deliver a solution. Well, you can't deliver a solution to a customer until you have just a general idea of what they're trying to do, where they're at, current state, and then where they're trying to go. So I've always done as much discovery as I possibly can so that I can spend the time and effort that I need to build the solutions that they need. So based off of Lawrence's point, what we could do is, and actually now that you mentioned that, what I think I'm going to do is, how I normally go about doing this is I will be given a set of IP addresses to connect to, and then I will systematically go device by device by device, show CDP neighbor, show IP interface brief. I will drag and drop little boxes. So what I'll do is literally this. I'll take this guy here, I'll duplicate it, and then I'll do another box. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's really the whole point, right? We're going to duplicate this guy. Oops. And then we're going to take this guy. We'll duplicate him. And then we'll do one more. And then you have, for some reason, there's, this guy's got, we'll do a black line. These guys are all wired together like this, right? And this is how the cabling works, right? So you log into this guy, and then you systematically, through show CDP neighbors and show whatever commands you need to, you eventually end up discovering that the network is built out like this, and you're like, okay, and they're having some sort of problem, and your job is to go in there and try to figure out why or what. Or they want to migrate from where they are to where they want to be and get everything up and running the way that they need it to be. So there's lots of different options and capabilities out there for sure. So it's kind of cool what you can do with it. So it's not a bad idea, actually, to go in there and figure that out. You'd be surprised, and I'm not at all surprised, that there's guys out there, or senior engineers, that have a hard time with that. I'm not at all surprised. It was always fun doing the discovery and then having the discussion with them why there are differences between what they think they have and what's actually there. Exactly. That's part of the learning curve for sure when it comes to being, more of a senior person on the network. So, but I'm already over a little bit. I know you guys probably don't care, but I'm going to go ahead and call it for this evening. I'm going to get this lab stood up. I'm going to go ahead and get the IP addressing done, and then over the next couple days, I will get it configured and squared away, and then that will be the book. That'll be the Encore and RC workbook, and all that content will go out on the website. You guys will be able to access, and if anybody's paying $25 a month, you'll get access to it right away, and then the video series will come out. It'll probably be pretty short. I'm thinking probably less than 40 videos for all of this, because there's not a lot here, but it'll be a technical deep dive into why things are set up the way that they are, and I'll give you the architecture high level of why things are the way that they are, and to Lawrence's point, why things are, why they are and stuff like that. So, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, don't hesitate to let me know in the comments. The more information and the more ideas you guys toss at me, the more content I'm able to generate for you guys. And so yeah, good stuff. So with that being said, you guys have an awesome rest of your night. I am going to go knock out a workout and get this done and get all powered up. Good stuff. Yeah, man, for sure. Don't be a stranger. You guys have a good rest of your night, and I'll catch all of you in the next week, same time, same channel. Unless there's something that pops up, I don't think there will actually. I might have to reschedule to next week's Whiteboard Wednesday to Thursday, but I'll double check my calendar. Actually, let me do that right now since I've got my phone literally in my pocket and I didn't silence it. So, what do I have going on? Jesus, why are you so loud? Not that. I want a calendar. So, 16th. Oh, that's that day. Okay, I fly back home. Okay, so I should be... No, I should be okay. Never mind. I take that back. I'm glad I looked. So, next Wednesday, I should be fine. There should be no issues with that. So, I will see you guys next Wednesday for sure. Unless something pops up and I have to cancel for some reason. But if not, I should be here, ready to go. I'll catch you guys. Stay safe out there. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I will catch all of you guys in the next live. All right. Have a good one, everybody.